Hey everybody, good morning. We're in North Myrtle Beach. Everybody's smiling, makes me smile, so that's all good. And especially since we're talking about challenging and conflicts, challenging people in conflicts, it's always good to smile, right? Why in the world would we speak on this for weeks at a time? It's because you have no conflicts and no challenges. We all do, don't we? So here's the thing. In Proverbs it says this, where there is no vision, the people perish. And I just want to talk about vision a little bit because this Japanese proverb that you've got on your handout says this: vision without action is a daydream, but action without vision is a nightmare. And basically what that means is if you don't have a direction that you're going and you don't have a focus on what you're doing, then just doing things generally causes issues. And here's what I mean. If you've got a vision, you're preparing for what you do. If you are just doing something without a vision, you will be repairing what you do. Does that make sense? Because you're going to have to back up and regroup without that direction that you need. But I just want to mention this to you. You know, a lot of times when you're thinking about conflict or challenging people, you think about some person who's just got a bad attitude, right? But I want you to understand that even folks who have a really good track record can develop some problems. I'll give you a good example. A lady, I do some training at a business, and a lady about 6 months ago got promoted. I was so happy for her. She'd been working really hard, and she knew the hard skills. I mean, she had it down. I mean, she could produce and she could do things. Really had it down. But boy, as soon as she got promoted, her attitude changed. She knew the job, but boy, when she had to start really kind of making the decisions and dealing with people, I don't know if it was the stress, I don't know what it was, but she really became kind of a different person with her team. And as she became that different person, instead of being a team member that produced, she became a leader that was really holding her team back. And so last week she got demoted. All right? I mean, it happens. And so I'm saying that to you, that sometimes we have health issues that arise, sometimes we have personal issues that arise. We have our own circumstances. Things can happen, and when it does, it can cause a change in us. And so I'm sharing this with you so that you will realize as opportunities come your way and chances to lead people and influence people come your way, you need to make sure that you stay self-aware of who you are, know what your values are, know what direction you're going, so that you continue to improve and you don't back up. I'll give you another example. A lady actually worked for me several years ago, and as she worked for me, she was on the teller line, and she was absolutely a wonderful teller. Great with people, hard skills, everything that she needed. And so we moved her to operations manager. And for as far as the hard skills, she knocked it out of the park. All reports were done. She ran it clockwork. I never had to look twice. But she began to develop this ego issue. She began to develop this thing like I'm the boss, I can do what I want to do. So she began to push the boundaries, and so it became something where she thought it was about her, and she began to take liberties. She started coming in a little bit late when she wanted to, left a little early when she wanted to, took an extended lunch hour any time of the day that she wanted to. And then it just got to a point where she started just not showing up for work because she was doing other things. And it just became a problem. So guess what? She didn't want to change. She just thought that she had arrived, and she ended up getting fired. So the point is that we can be a really good an employee. We can even be a decent leader in our organization. But if we're not careful, we can develop into something very different. Okay, very different. Because guess what? We all have a little bit of pride. Okay, this means yes. Yeah, a little bit of pride, and we all have a little bit of ego, and if we're not careful, if it gets fed the wrong medicine, we kind of blow up about ourselves, and then we become an unhealthy leader, which is exactly what we're talking about. So here's the thing. So how would you work with a difficult leader who lacks vision? Every person that you work with is not going to have vision. Some people get tunnel vision and can't see the big picture, and are just going through the motions and trying to get a job done and lack purpose. So when that happens, what do? If you're not careful, you fall into the trap that they're in. But you don't want to do that. All right, you want to be able to have vision and see things. So I just share this with you, and that is tap into the organization's vision. Like for instance here, your vision is about serving. Well, if you're ever involved with a leader who's not serving and it's self-serving, then you need to remind yourself what you're here for. You're to serve the community, serve coworkers, serve clients, right? And that's what you're here for. You tap into that and look at a bigger vision yourself than what maybe you're getting from your leader. Here's another one I want to share with you. Develop your own vision and then share that with your leader. Try to influence them to think differently. Here's the thing. I hope that if you're ever at a point as a future leader, or whether you're that leader now in your organization, that what happens is you've always got vision, but sometimes we lose that vision. Sometimes we begin to see things for different reasons. We see it differently than it is. And it's good for people to remind us of what we're doing. So don't ever feel like that you can't hopefully sit down with people or mention to people what we're here for, what we're doing. Just a hint, all right? Just suggest to people that. And here's another one. So develop your own purpose and pursue it. I hope you have a purpose in your life. I hope that you don't just come to work and grind it out. I hope that you have a purpose in being here. Listen, think about this. If your purpose is just to get a paycheck and a job and go to the house and you can't wait for 5 o'clock today, you're missing it, all right? Here's the thing. I hope that every transaction you have today has purpose. Every person that walks in the door, every time the phone rings, you have purpose in doing it. Because here's the thing. If you have purpose, then what's going to happen is you're going to deliver excellence. I'm going to give you an example. My daughter that's in college loves watermelon, all right? And at this time of year, you can't find a good watermelon except at Publix, all right? And here's how you find them. You go ask the guy in produce if you can get one from the back, because they always have watermelons in the back. They're not out, but they're in the back. And they're expensive, but you can get them. But guess what? The guy knows his stuff, all right? You go in, you talk to him, he'll get the one that's a good one for you. He knows his stuff. Now let me just tell you this. He likes to explain about how he knows that it's a good one, all right? He takes a lot of pride in produce. He's been doing it since 1976. And he takes a lot of pride in it. So when you go in and you talk to, I'm going to say his name, Robert. You go in and you talk to Robert. You're going to get more than just a watermelon, all right? You're going to get some information. You're going to, and here's why. He takes pride in it, all right? It's excellence, okay? It's excellence. Because he's there for a purpose. He's there to share his knowledge about his experiences and what he knows. And so it makes it fun to go in and buy watermelon from him, all right? So it's good. So that's the difference. What could he say? We don't have any. We don't have any out, right? He could say that. But that's not what he says. All right, so here's right in the middle. Don't let others' lack of vision cause a lack of vision in you. I ad-libbed that a little bit, but that's pretty much what it says. Okay, so you maintain your vision. Make sure it gives you purpose and you'll be excellent at what you do. So down at the bottom, how would you work with a leader who is indecisive and inconsistent? All right, sometimes that happens. Not everybody who gets promoted or who's in a position can make decisions. You would think so, but that's not always the case. Sometimes folks like a lot of information before they make a decision. They like to make safe decisions. They don't like to take risk. And when that happens, it slows that decision-making process down. I had a lady, a wonderful lady that I worked for many, many years ago, and she was this type of leader. She found it very difficult to make decisions, even on things like vacation days. It would sometimes take her 2 weeks to let you know if somebody could be off or not. You know, she would go up like 2 or 3 levels in the organization to get approvals. I mean, it was like, she had to make sure that nobody was going to question the decision. And it would take forever to make a decision. And so it challenged us sometimes, because guess what? Sometimes things happen, even on vacation where you get an opportunity to do something. You can't wait 2 weeks on a decision, right? So, but you can imagine on things in the department we were in, where we really needed a quick decision about work and couldn't get it. Sometimes we would sit there an hour or 2 hours waiting on a decision before we made any move to do anything. Challenging. But you know what? Sometimes you have to deal with folks that are struggling to make decisions. So let's talk about it. Here's a quote right here down at the bottom. Indecision is debilitating. It feeds upon itself. It is, one might almost say, habit forming. Not only that, but it is contagious. It transmits itself to others. So in other words, it rubs off. So when people are fearful of making decisions, that fear oftentimes spreads and it paralyzes the group a lot of times. So make sure that if you've got somebody that's having trouble making decisions, recognize it and understand that you need to try to help a little bit. So let's talk about how to do that. Ask permission to make decisions. Unfortunately, I didn't do the right thing. I'm going to go ahead and be honest. I know y'all thought I had all the answers, right? But when I was a young man and worked for this lady, there were several things that came up. And I'm just not wired in an indecisive way. When it comes time to make a decision, I'll pull the trigger. I mean, just telling you I'll do it, right? Just as they say, I ain't scared, all right? So the thing is that when decisions would come up, I'd just bypass her. I'd just make the decision and do it. Well, guess what? That doesn't work well in the banking world. I would suggest that you not try that, all right? But because what would happen with me is I would see something that needed to be done and I'd just make a decision. Okay, well, let's do it this way. And we'd go. Well, she'd find out about it and I'd be in hot water, you know, because she was twice as old as me and I was 20 years old and I didn't know anything anyway, right? I thought I did, but I didn't know anything. But here's the thing. I should have gone to her and asked her if I could help her. But instead, I just kind of did it anyway. Not the way to do it. But I should have went to her and asked her. Here's another one. Offer your help in the decision-making process. If this lady would not have given me permission, then I should have said, well, may I help you? Is there something that I can help you with? And if that would have been the case, we probably would have had a better relationship. And we had a good relationship, but it would have been much better, obviously, because the more decisions I made outside the chain of command, the more trouble I got into, right? Okay. I didn't mean to tell you I was a troublemaker, but now you know. All right, so here's the thing. At the bottom here, ask what you are to do when a decision must be made. So in other words, that prompts the decision making. Okay, a decision needs to be made. What do you want me to do? And then that prompts them to make it. So just some thoughts there about how to help people make decisions and move forward. All right, on the second page, I want to share this with you. How do you work with a leader with attitude and character issues? Has anybody ever worked with a leader who's got a little attitude?
Got rid of him.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Ed's got some good advice. Get rid of them, right? But hey, it happens. It happens. But more importantly, when you get the opportunity to be a leader, or you know, again, we're all leaders because we influence people, but when you get promoted and you have supervisory or management responsibilities, make sure it's not you that's got the attitude and the character issue, okay? So here's the thing. First thing is, don't stoop to their level, okay? Don't stoop to their level. Here's the thing. People around you will influence you. So if you see that there's an attitude or a character issue, recognize it and make sure that it doesn't rub off on you. Because if you're not careful, it will. Keep as much distance from the negativity as possible. You know what happens? A lot of times we're drawn to it, aren't we? The negativity. When somebody's just like, oh my gosh, I gotta be at work today. And then you come in and you hear it 1,100 times. You finally come in and say, oh man, I know it. I can't wait for the weekend, right? Or a customer comes in and he goes, not them again. I can't believe they're in here again today. This is like 6 times. And then you say, oh yeah, they're always in here, right? You just kind of pile on. We'll stay off the pile of negativity. You know, when they come in for the 6th time, be glad they're here, right? They're your customer. They're your client. Be glad. Hey, you got a job. You know, look at it positively. I actually get a paycheck. I don't work for benevolent causes, do you? I mean, I like my paycheck, right? Hey, I like health insurance. Man, I really enjoy a 401k, right? Especially the match part of it. I like that. How many of you like vacation? Yeah, I mean, listen, when you come into work, there's lots of reasons to be happy to be here. So if somebody's not happy, correct them. And say, you know what, you could be working somewhere else doing something else. I like air conditioning. I like being able to park right outside the door. I don't know why I'm sharing this with y'all, but it sounds good, doesn't it? I mean, listen, you could be parking in a parking garage 10 blocks away, and it's a rainy day.
You could be in Chicago.
Yeah, you could be in the snow, and y'all got, anyways, lots of good reasons to be here. All right, so here's the thing. When you're dealing with somebody who's got some character issues and you know it, protect yourself by putting as much in writing as possible. All right? Communicate in writing as much as possible. Because if there's a character issue involved, he said, she said. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So how about this one, the bully boss? Anybody ever worked for a bully boss? Okay. How many of you have been a bully boss before? Okay, I didn't know if I was in the right room or not. All right, so here's the thing. Have confidence in your own abilities and value, because what do bullies typically do? Put you down. Say it again.
Break you down.
Yeah, they break you down, all right? That's how they make themselves feel good. That's how they give themselves power. They break you down. And so have confidence in your own abilities and maintain your own values. That's important. Here's another one. Don't take blame if it's not yours to take. Bullies typically tend to deflect blame. And so if that's the case, be strong. Accept blame if you're wrong, but if you're not, then don't accept it, all right? Don't say that that's okay. And here's the big thing. Over time, don't develop the victim mentality. Don't let that bully mentality win and dominate you, all right? That's not the way to play. All right, here's the next one. How about the leader who always plays it safe? The leader who doesn't want to make a mistake, doesn't want to get in trouble, doesn't want to make any waves, won't take any risk. All right? Listen to this quote. This is funny. Ironically, in a changing world, playing it safe is one of the riskiest things you can do. Think about that. I will tell you this. Leaders take risk. That's just a part of it. They take chances. That's how things move forward. That's how new ideas come into play. That's how new thought is created. That's how fortunes are made. People take chances, right? People take chances. So think about this. If you're dealing with a leader who's playing it safe, put yourself in their shoes. Kind of understand where they're coming from, why they're doing what they're doing. They may be in a point in their career where they don't want to have any issues. They may not be emotionally geared for issues. You know, maybe in their past they've had some things go wrong and they're afraid to take chances now. You just need to understand where people are coming from. And if they're playing it safe and not taking chances, there's probably a reason. And so you need to try to help them with this. So here's the thing. Acknowledge their feelings and how it plays into their decision making. So when you get to know them, know what's going on with them emotionally, you may be able to kind of figure out why it is they're having issues making decisions. Okay? And here's the big thing. Help them move forward. All right? Help them to take some reasonable risk. I'm not saying just throw it all to the wind, but take some reasonable risk. All right? Just like in lending. How about this? How about in lending, Ed? How about in lending if you never took any chances?
You never lend any money.
You'd never lend any money, right? Because listen, here's the thing. I like to, when I was in banking, this is one of the things that I always taught on was this, is that if we're just operating in the black and the white, there's no money there. Because if the loan's in the black, you're not going to do the loan. If the loan's in the white, where everybody wants to do it, there's no margin there, right? So we got to make our money in the gray area, and the gray area is where the risk is at. So we just got to figure out how to handle the risk. Well, the same thing as a leader. You have to take risks to move your team forward. All right, here's the last one I want to share with you. How do you lead up? How do you lead up? Here's the thing. John Maxwell wrote a book called 360-Degree Leader, and basically what that is we lead everywhere. We lead the people who are under us on the organizational chart. We lead our peers, and we lead those people even that are above us. We have influence. And so when we influence people, we're leading people, all right? Leadership is influence. So here's a big thing. Understand your leader. Make sure that you understand where they're coming from, how they're wired, what their character is like, you know, what their vision is. Talk to them, get to know them, find out about what's happening with them, and it'll help you understand where they're going. And then here's another one. Understand your support role. What is your role? Your role, if somebody's above you in the organizational chart, your role is to make them look better. Okay? It's to make them look better. Listen, the people who are your peers, your job is to make them look better. Right? And the people who are below you on the organizational chart, your job is to, yeah, make them look better, right? The point is we want to add value to people. We want people to grow and improve. That we want personally and professionally. So all the way around on that organizational chart, we're to help people grow and improve. Here's another one. Bloom where you're planted. You know, how many of you have been in a job where it really wasn't exactly where you wanted to be? Yeah. Yeah, most of us have been, right? But here's the thing. A lot of people get in a job that they don't really like and they sour. They just sit there, this isn't what I want to do. I don't like this. I want to do something different. Right? Don't we do that? You see people do it?
What are you supposed to do when that happens?
Yeah. And so what happens is, with us, we've got to do this. We've got to bloom where we're planted. In other words, we've got to have that personal purpose and vision of where we're going to go. I'm going to use a good example. There was a guy, I'm not going to call his name because I really don't know him very well. I just have heard this story about him. But he runs a $4 billion company today. And he started out at the company at 16 years old cutting grass with a push mower. He cut the front lawn or the lawn at the headquarters of the company at 16 years old. Now, let me just ask you this. Today, he's CEO of that company. Only company he's ever worked for. He's CEO of that company. So I want to ask you this question about this guy. Do you think he did a good job cutting the grass? Do you think that's ultimately the job that he wanted? No. But why would he do a good job cutting the grass at 16 years old? Why would he do a really good job?
Open the door for opportunities.
Yeah, listen, this guy in his mind, I want you to think about this. At 16 years old, he's cutting the grass, looking up at the sign, pushing the mower, and saying, I'm going to run this company one day. How cool is that?
Mm-hmm.
And he had that vision.
Right.
So he sees this big company and he says, I can make this company even bigger. I'm going to take it worldwide. I'm going to quadruple the size of this company. And guess what? He's done it. He's done it. All right? This guy's only like in his 50s. He's basically ascended to the top position in that company, and the company has exploded. Okay? Exploded. But he had that vision. So, but here's what happened. Do you think that every job that he had in the company as he was moving up that he liked? No. No. He got some really kind of tough jobs in that company. But he knew where he was going, so guess what? He did them with excellence. Okay, he did those jobs with excellence, and that's the difference in it. Okay, I'm out of time, and I'm going to share this with you. Rise above others with the right attitude and motive. Listen, if you got a vision and you know where you're going, you can move past people. Okay, I think I told y'all the story of me being in the mailroom, and a lady, I worked hard. I had 2 full-time people that were there. They moved them out. I was doing it part-time and doing their job, right? And a lady comes to me and says, what in the world are you doing? You know, and I told her, I'm going to be your boss one day. What was the difference? I had a vision. She didn't, right? She just came to work every day to get a paycheck. My vision was, I'm going to add value to this company. I'm going to make a difference, right? So it matters. And here's the thing. Succeed on existing terms. Point is you can't be writing your own ticket. You can't be a maverick. You've got to stay within boundaries. So I'm saying all this because of personal experience. I got in a lot of trouble for trying to do things my way, even though I thought it was the right thing. Even though the EVP, when he called me down, all right, that's pretty bad when the EVP's got to call a 20-year-old computer operator down, right? But when he called me down, he said, do you know what the chain of command is? I said, yes, sir. He said, so here's my point. Succeed on existing terms, right? If you change things within the game plan. Don't play outside of the rules, all right? That's not the way to do it. All right? Lead up through the policies and procedures your organization's got in place. All right, I think I'm out of time. Appreciate you guys letting me be with you. Y'all have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.